Hey. Welcome to Bridging the Seen and Unseen. I am your host. I am Shane McLain, and this is the wonderful Gwen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. My wife's here. We all know, do
You
any
have a sweet
complaining.
wife. You have a sweet wife.
Yeah, she is. She is. She's just she needs to repent because she can get disrespectful.
No, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just playing. I say that to her all the time, but it's good. What'd you say? She's rolling her eyes. Listen. She has threatened. She's literally said. She said, "If you go to sleep tonight, watch out because I'll shave your eyebrows." Do you know what it's like to think that a little 5'1" little woman coming in your sleep and shaving your eyebrows?
Oh my god, you do it, Angie. If he gets out of hand, you
Don't
just
say
do
no,
it.
no. We are not having the She Woman Man Eaters Club in this house tonight.
Oh, we
No,
love you, Shane. We love you.
I hope so, man. Now I got two of you talking about my eyebrows. Oh my gosh. But guys, listen, tonight it is so good to be here. Anybody that's been watching the show, we have been doing this series on the Enfield haunting, and last week was probably one of the best podcasts that I've had. Some of the best guests, and of course, all of you that watch, you guys make it really, really good. But they're back this week too, and so let's bring Jay and Mackenzie Yaples on.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey,
Welcome back.
welcome back. I'm so glad to have you guys. Last week was such a good podcast, and I mean, I felt like we covered a whole lot, and we got a good idea of who you are, Mackenzie, and we love having you there. And so again, welcome back.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be you guys on again and
Yep.
really welcome for you guys. I
Yeah.
hope you guys are doing a great day.
So let's see. We left off last week. You were telling me, not only about yourself and everything, but you growing up in that house, and we said that some people get into the paranormal. Uh some people buy their way into the paranormal, but you literally were born into it, and I'm just curious, about that because, you know, did you have, were there a lot of people growing up that wanted to be in your house with you, or were they scared to be in there with you?
Oh, for sure. I had quite a bit of people, ask questions and definitely, skeptical of it because, when you're hearing that stuff, especially being younger too, and you're getting asked all these questions, I'm like, being and growing up with it is definitely a different experience and explaining it for sure. So when I'm trying to explain it to them, they just either look at me like I'm either crazy or like they don't even want to step foot in the house at all. So.
Yeah. But how does that even happen? Like, what would, like trying to explain it, say you meet somebody new and you guys become good friends, like how do you just kind of bring that into the conversation?
It's normally starts with hi Mackenzie, then it's like goodbye Mackenzie.
Yeah, usually
Yeah.
I wait a little bit, try to feel like the area and everything, and see where like how their personality is and how their hobbies are and interests, and then I usually kind of like slowly let it out and like start like asking little questions, and then I just let it out and see what happens to their response.
Yeah.
Sometimes it ends up well, and sometimes some people are like, yeah, we can still hang out, but I'm not stepping foot in the house. So.
I can imagine. I mean, like, did you ever have like sleepovers?
Oh, sure. I had many here, and I had a lot of people actually leave in the middle of the night because they had so many things going on. Like, what, this is probably the last sleep I've ever having at your house. probably have it at the other person's house, but not at your house ever again. So.
Well, tell us about some of that. Tell us like say remember a sleepover that you had or whatever, something that somebody experienced there to make it to where they'll never do that again.
So we had a sleepover once, and it was maybe 5 of us there, and someone was asking about the paranormal equipment and everything. So I decided, to bring some out because someone was curious, and we got a couple of things, but it wasn't much. So we stopped it and we started having fun. It was time about to go to bed. It was maybe 2 a.m. And like I sleep pretty good through this stuff. Like I don't really hear much unless it's like really like noticeable. But my friends were like, Kenzie, how the hell do you sleep through this? Like we're hearing like scratching on the walls, we're hearing like banging, we see shadows and everything. And they're like, you're definitely a strange kid sleeping through this stuff. I'm like, well, I'm living in this house for 18 years, so you kind of get used to it. But yeah, some of the people really had like their name calling, or like when they go to the bathroom, they get an eerie feeling of someone's watching them and everything. And it's just kind of hard to like make them feel like safe or like it's okay when you can't really deal with it and see and tell them like, hey, leave them alone, because sometimes some of the spirits really don't listen. So a
Now,
lot of
do you have like do you like try to encourage people to like do you tell them say hey just don't pay any attention or anything like that or is it or did people like just accept the fact that was going on?
It was both ways. I mean, I tried telling them like, hey, it's okay. You set your boundaries. If you're ready to go to bed, saying like, hey, this is my bedtime. You guys gotta leave me alone. Everything. And some of them were like, it's okay. It's there. We have to acknowledge it. We gotta sleep through it. Some people really didn't sleep. So now lately, when I'm at sleepovers, I'm usually the person that's usually up through it. So just in case no one really like gets too scared.
Mm.
I think the most strangest sleepover when they were little, like I said, we used to pitch a tent upstairs, and when the renter side here was vacant, we would pitch a tent. One of the things that happened is they were so terrified. I mean, what kids were left, they were so terrified because what they were seeing was a shadow going around the tent of like something trying to look in, and they could see the outline of the head and the torso. And I mean, could you imagine that though, being a little kid and you see some kind of shadow man trying to come into your tent? I would have soiled my pants.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying, really. I think, and I've worked several cases to where when I talk, I try to talk to the kids in the family and things like that, and I've seen several to where the kid has like drastically been affected by the issues that are going on in the house. And I mean, has it affected your life at all, or has it gotten to where did you see any like drastic changing in your life, or did
I would say for sure. I mean, there was definitely, some incidents where, I mean, it got to the point where it's like, what are you going to do next? Like, it gets to the point, it's like, I can understand coincidence, you lose a person or you lost your job or something like that, but like, it's constantly like, there's always something every week. And it's just like, you never know what's going to happen every week. And it's always like, always stepping on your tippy toes and everything because you're waiting for the next dramatic thing to happen. And for almost 18 years of living here, it's always something every week. So I'm always kind of like on guard in the house. And sometimes it gets really annoying because, your house should be somewhere you can relax and should like just let your guard down. But with here, it's just like some points where you have to like stay on guard and make sure everything's okay because you never know. One day you let that guard down and something could take that up in the right way.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, did it ever affect your sleep patterns or
Oh, for sure. I had almost when I used to. I mean, now I'm actually back in the attic again, give it another shot. But when I was a little bit younger, I almost slept on the couch for almost 3 years because I got so bad sleeping up there, seeing all these creatures up there, hearing rapping noises and everything constantly. And I'm like, I still had to go to school and everything, and I still had a job, and I still had to do all these things. And it got to the point where I had to sleep on the couch too, because that was also my junior year too of high school, and I was studying SATs and everything. So I'm like, I had to sleep on the couch so I can get better rest to get ready for the day and everything. So definitely sleep was main priority in the house for sure.
Yeah. And, I mean, how did you do in school? Were you a good student? Did you make good grades?
Oh, for sure. I still managed to work with that because dealing with that, you had to figure things out because when you have an obstacle, you can't let that thing stop you from getting through life, school, and all that. So I
Yeah.
pushed through it, and I still managed. I actually graduated with Enfield House 25 credits. I managed to graduate actually with
Nice.
30 credits.
Good.
So I was over the limit. So I did pretty well in school. Friend wise, I was pretty good with that. Teachers, they definitely know about the house, and I had a lot of questions. I actually had a teacher brought me in actually one of the classrooms to actually give a lecture about the book and what we do and everything. So I think it was pretty well in school for sure. Dealing with paranormal wasn't actually too bad in school. So.
See, now having that kind of support, that's incredible. But I can tell you, like for instance, like I'm from South Carolina, and so is Gwen, and she could probably tell you, there's like we like to call this like the Baptist capital of the world.
Yep.
You
Bible
know,
Belt, that kind of stuff.
this is like the Bible and like say a kid were to have like a haunted house or something like that there, like if the parents didn't do something about it and that kid started getting affected, they would literally try to take the kids away from the thing.
Mhm.
Holy crap.
I'll tell you how it is here. I denied a lot of my gifts and things for years, and I wouldn't tell people stuff I saw or happened to me, paranormal wise or supernatural, whatever, however you want to label that, because I was told as a child, you can't tell anybody, in a firm, very you don't tell nobody thing. I mean,
Yeah.
and so up until a few years ago, I didn't. I think we have a question. Let's see, Mackenzie, being younger, what's the most bizarre thing you have encountered and how did you deal with it? And that's from Sean.
I would probably say, living in the attic, I definitely seen some crazy things. One night I was on my laptop, I'm getting done with an essay and everything. It's pretty late. And all of a sudden, on like the side of my screen, I saw this most hideous creature I've ever seen. And especially, I was about 16 and like I've seen a lot of things in that house. And I was actually about to I ran downstairs to my parents' room. I'm like, I'm not sleeping up there ever again. Like that was the point where I actually felt shaky inside and where I was like, you know what, this is more of not a fight moment. It was more of a flight, go down the stairs. And I ran down like, Mom, I just saw this most hideous thing upstairs. I'm not sleeping back up there. I said, and I actually took the most smallest room in the house just to get some better sleep because I had a whole attic upstairs. I had everything up there. I made it perfect. I'm jeopardizing the sleep. I can't do it, especially with the things up there. So I decided to move downstairs. So that was probably one of the craziest things I've seen in the house.
Well, do you know what it was that you what did you said one of the hideous things? What was it?
I mean, it had it was more of a baldish head, but it had some fur out of it, and it had a weird eyes, actually big eyes and sharp jagged teeth. And when I see that, I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I was like, you know what? This is where I gotta draw the line. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. What's the point?
Oh yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I'll never forget. I I lived with this girl that was like my sister for years, and we lived down this dirt road, and this dirt road was literally almost 3 miles straight back, and it came up to a clearing, and there was just one solid lot right there with a double wide mobile home on this lot, and we were moving stuff in. It took us a long time to get down the road and everything. 2:45 in the morning, we hear knocking on the back door.
Oh wow.
And we're like, are that can't be, and it was raining outside. It was thunderstorming. There were puddles all in the yard. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And so we walked to the kitchen and we had the lights off and we looked out the window in the kitchen at the door. And there was this little girl.
Oh wow.
She was standing there with hair in front of her face, wearing a white shirt. She's wearing these cutoff shorts, no shoes, as pale as you can get, as pale as you can get. And she knocks again or whatever. And my sister's like, don't answer that door. And I'm like, oh, trust me, I'm not. And this is the first time we turned around and looked back again, and she looked up. And guys, listen, that's the first time I have ever seen a black-eyed child.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh, wow.
definitely scary too. When you see something out there looking at you like that, it's like, you know what, you don't open the door, you shut the shades, you go back.
And the thing is, it was staring. It was she was staring at us, and then so the door from that window is literally like maybe 5 feet. So we shut the window really quick, and we went to the door, and they had the door window, and I looked out, and there wasn't anybody there. And so we opened the back door, and there was just a big wooded area back there. I mean, it would literally take someone, an hour and a half to get to the front of that road if they were walking, and especially a barefooted little girl. We were looking, there were no footprints in the yard. There were no muddy footprints on the stairs. There was nothing right there. It was like she was never there. And so we found the owner of the property and we went and talked to him. And to find out the year before, a girl up the road had been kidnapped from her family right out of her yard. And they brought her down that road before that lot was still being cleared. And they brought her down there. And that's where she was took advantage of, and they strangled her. They did all kind of stuff like that. And so when the owner told us that, we knew right then. They were like, we saw that girl.
It was her.
And and the look on his face, and it was like, not again.
Oh.
Like this has happened before. And I'm like, man, see, and you run into something like that, you never forget it. And it's like, when you're in this house and stuff like that. I mean, have you ever seen a black-eyed child?
No, I mean, I've seen
It's not
children
good.
like that before, like in the house. I had a girl with me for quite a while, still to this day. Oh my God, 14 years, I still never seen her face. She always has her hair over there. And I'm still praying to God that day. I don't want to see that because, when you're like right in front of her, and I'm just like praying, like, please don't pick this day to show me your face because I actually might need an extra pair of underwear on that one.
Yeah.
And we have a question from Angie when you get ready.
Go ahead.
Angie's his wife. You guys already know that, but she says, what was the most recent paranormal activity you both experienced in your house?
Well, I think last year when you and Scarlett went out.
I would say that was really the most like bringing out on that one. I mean, we always have like things move in the house, like you put your wall down, something takes it or shadows. But last year, I had a friend of mine, we went out for a walk, and he knows big in this story.
So what happened is Courtney was at her boyfriend's house. I don't know if I told you guys this, and all of a sudden it was right after the taste of Enfield, and it was a nice day. It was beautiful. It was all sunny. And so Courtney was at her boyfriend's house in Massachusetts, Courtney took, Kenzie took off with her friend, and I was next door with Elka, and then all of a sudden I hear something which I haven't heard in years. It sounds like something jumps off a bureau and starts running across the floor. So I said to Elka, somebody broke in the house. And she's like, no. She goes, I said, no, someone's in the house. So I said, you know what? Just forget it. So I walk over to the kitchen, I get a soda, and I walk back, and you hear something running around the house. Now, Elka's like, someone's in the house. So I said, call the kids and make sure where they are before I grab a gun. I want to know where everybody is. So she called Courtney. She's over with her boyfriend. Kenzie's out with her friend. So I got my weapon. I got my dog. And right away, I knew something was wrong because my German Shepherd just hit the ground and started whining and wouldn't move. Oh. So I went up and I had to clear each room by room, going under the bed, everything. And it was all clear. There's no one in the house. So I come back, I secure the weapon, and everything seems to be okay. So then Kenzie comes home, and she comes over here with her friend, and they're watching TV. So I'm sitting next door, and I'm like, you know what? I said, I wonder maybe if that was a fan fell or something like that. You know, you're trying to rationalize and you're trying to justify. So I go upstairs, and I had a cross on, and I still have it because the extra cross broke. And I go upstairs, I go in the bathroom, I'm looking around, I go into Mackenzie's room, and as soon as I go to open her door, I turn around. As soon as that happens, there's a loud boom. The whole entire house shook, and my cross dropped straight on the ground. I bent over, and I just pick it up. I go down the stairs. I go next door to see if these guys are okay. I thought maybe they were wrestling and they knocked over a table or something like that. And they're sitting there with their eyes wide open. Elka comes over. Well, that whole night, guys, it was like that the whole night.
Yeah, we did back and forth stuff.
We couldn't hear it. We could not catch it. And we haven't had that activity in years where you literally hear somebody running. And they would literally run right through the wall. And you would hear them on our side of the house, and they would run back.
But I think it's also, too, what was crazy, too, my friend was also in the paranormal, and she also been on a lot of investigations, too. So for her eyes to go open wide like that, I was just amazed because, like, hearing stuff like that, like, it sounded like 200 pounds hitting the floor and the whole house shakes. I'm sitting here and I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm like, I just couldn't believe it because it's just like, you try to find something where, you know, maybe that could happen or something like that. But something that loud to shake the house, I was just baffled on that point.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that one whole night. Yep.
I see another question, Glenn.
Right. You want to, okay. It says,
I can't read it.
Yeah, it's Sean again. He's asking, have either of you had an intelligent encounter with any of the spirits there where they have asked questions or you and got a response? I'm sorry.
I left next door to go to bed and made a response first thing where I was. That was definitely incredible too.
Yeah, but I was going to talk about the one out back.
Yeah, you can talk about that one.
So the most strangest one that we had was we decided to go out in the back one day with a paranormal group, and it was where a guy had hung himself. There was to be an old barn and an old garage. So we never really investigated it before. So we were there with our friends, and they were a really good paranormal team. So Teresa, I figured, I didn't want to say anything to anybody, but I figured they would pick up the guy who hung himself. I figured, well, if there's death energy, they would pick up on him. So all of a sudden, it got really weird. All of a sudden, we're sitting around, we have the recorders, everything. Mm-hmm. And she's got the dowsing rods, and she says, is there anybody here? And it spells out Thomas. So she goes, does that ring a bell? I was like, And then all of a sudden, she's asking Thomas how he died. He goes, gunshot. I went off the chair. I was like, oh my God. And then he says that, it was in the morning. And now what nobody knew was there was a family that lived here from 1963 to 2001. One of the sons was a Glossary police officer, and the story goes he went down. His name was Thomas Gadarowski. He went down to the locker room that morning. He walked into work. He said good morning to the watch commander, to the supervisor. He went down, sat down. Supposedly just pulled out his service revolver and shot himself in the head.
Oh, wow.
As that's happening, all of a sudden, I'm sitting there playing my phone, and they're doing their investigating, and all of a sudden, Paul comes over. Paul, right? And they're like, "Who's Paul?" And like, now my face is getting really whacked out, right? I'm like, "No way." And they said, "Why? Who's Paul?" I said, "Paul was the father."
Oh.
So Thomas came through his son, Paul came through. Then, as that's happening, a lady named Mary came through and started talking. That was the mother. And then
wow.
Then at the very end, they got a guy named Robert or Bobby, and he said, "I'm not happy. I nearly fell off the chair." That was the guy that hung himself. At the very end, he comes through. Almost the whole entire family that got wiped out. Thomas was, and I was surprised Thomas was the first one that came through, because he was the one that shot himself. And I thought Robert was going to come through. And then it was weird knowing that Paul came through. And then Mary, the mother, came through. And then at the very end, I think maybe Robert was maybe shy, then he comes through. So that was probably the most intelligent, where we had verification, and they had no idea who these people were. They were like, "Who are these people coming in? Who are these, people asking questions?"
Right.
So we had some crazy things like that happen.
I think also another thing that is really crazy too is you couldn't even say it out loud, just thinking it. Like, say for example, like I'm looking for my wallet just to drive to the store, or like I gotta go somewhere really important. Your wallet just vanish, and all of a sudden you're being late, and like now you're like getting really harsh out there, and all of a sudden I'll just appear right back on the table, and it's just like it gets agitated for sure. It's like, really.
And then
we have another comment when you guys get ready.
Go ahead. I gotta run to the boys' room real quick. Sorry.
Thomas Gormley and Stacia Wheels. She is commenting. She said, "Tom and I did when we were there for a week last year. We have the conversations on video. A lot of intelligent energies there." So I remember I had talked with them about, when you guys came on, and they said they had some very interesting things happen there. So thank you, Stacia.
That's now, do you guys ever do any investigating yourself? Because like one thing that's pretty key in like the paranormal is like I tell families and things like that you don't really want to investigate your own house, the place where you live. You don't want to bring any kind of effective energy. I mean, has that been y'all's case where you
Not
live?
really, because we've been doing the investigations here at the house for almost 2 years, and I haven't really got much. Sometimes, when I go to bed, I'll hear a couple of noises, but that's like letting them know, they're still awake and everything. But, once in a while, I'll do some investigating here in the house with the family, and just like, I know usually you're not supposed to do that, but usually at the end of the night, we really don't get anything negative or anything towards that. So I tried it first just to get the feel of it before I really get towards more involved with it, because you really never know what's really going to happen on the other side. So, but I tried it, and it wasn't really too harsh on that. So I would say it's not too bad on that.
Yeah, because a lot of people I found that they try to. Well, first of all, I'm talking with people that don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They start communicating. They think that they're communicating with a loved one or something like that, and then bad stuff starts happening to them, and now they don't know what to do.
Oh, for sure. I had a actually still really good friend of mine, best friend in the whole entire world. She's really interested in the paranormal, so I brought her over the house. And before, because she was like, "Hey, I want to investigate my own house and everything," I was like, "Yeah, first I'm gonna show you the basics to tell you, this is how it usually goes. Before we're ever gonna do something at your house, I want to let you know how it works and everything." And after investigating a house, she's like, "Yeah, I'm not investigating my own house." So now when we go places and everything, because I see so many things, she tells me, she's like, "Kenzie, you better cut your weird crap out. I don't want to hear anything when we're out. I don't want to hear you telling me I'm seeing things because I want to enjoy the night. I don't want to get too scared." So I'm like, usually I'm like, I zip my mouth on that point and just like, and she looked at me, she's like, "I know you saw something, but you keep your mouth shut on that point. I want to go to sleep tonight." So
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes
no
you
kidding.
just have to let the normal people just have a day.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I just let it loose. I'm like, nope, I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything. And she knows, I know, but she's like, I just don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it when I'm at my house. When we go out, there's a point in time for it, but some points you just gotta let
Sorry about
the
that.
normal people, like you said, Gwen, take their day on that.
So I have a question, if you don't mind. I don't know. I know you guys have been in this for so long, but they say once children hit puberty, not trying to embarrass or anything, that sometimes the energy amps up. So, and being that you have I don't know if it's identical twin sister, but you have a twin sister, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So, I mean, both of you hit it at the same time, and did the energy and stuff change? Like,
Oh, for sure. I mean, you could definitely, pick it up and definitely, getting hit through the age, you start remembering a lot more too, and you remember, we had a lot more shadow figures, a lot more voices hearing and everything. And especially, like I said, like the sleep part, everything, everything just came at once too. And
Yes.
especially not just doing it in your own house, but when I even go outside of the house and just go to the store, or if I'm having fun with the family, everything, we'll actually see things. And like if I see something, I won't say much, but then my sister gives me a look, and then she saw the same thing. So then I'll know there is actually something there.
Yeah.
But for sure, that's definitely on that point where puberty hit, and that really kind of like the gates just open and just stays on that one. So I'm really glad to have wonderful parents that really accept it for sure too.
Yeah. I have a question about the house. Now, I've never been there, but I would love to one day. But is it like we would call it a duplex? Is it house and house in the
Yeah, I
same?
was wondering that same thing.
It's well, what it is. It's side by side. What we believe happened, which I could probably see it if I had that kind of money, I would have done the same thing. Was we believe around 1860s they converted it. What they did, it was built as a single family.
Yeah.
And what they did is there was a gentleman that actually lived here. His name was William Lydell, and his son was off fighting in the Civil War. And at that time, his daughter came back with her alcoholic husband and 4 kids. So when their son came back disabled from the Civil War. So what happened was, I mean, could you imagine everybody's running around the house screaming and yelling? I think he just got a hold of a contractor and they split the house right in two. And then they said, "Marion, you go on this side with your kids, and I'm going to stay on this side with your brother and mom." So that's how we believe that's how it got split, because the middle window of the house, I had to put plywood there because when I first moved in, you used to be able to take your hand and literally go right around to the other side of the apartment because the window never got taken out, and they just had it split halfway through the middle.
Thomas Gormley made a comment. He said, "Crazy history of the house is that there had been 4 sets of twins."
That is correct. I mean, it's definitely crazy over 254 years of history having 4 sets of twins in the house. I can understand maybe 1 or 2, but 4, I mean, that's just really, it's kind of hard to like push it inside.
Now, were you guys living there, or were your parents living there when you guys got pregnant?
No. Here's one of the weird trivia questions that we tell people. Out of 254 years, how many babies do you think were actually conceived in the house?
I'm thinking 0, but my brain wants to say probably more.
Shane?
1.
0. Out of 254 years, no children were ever conceived. Everybody who moved in was either pregnant, had older children, or they were adult age.
Wow.
Then the other one is a lot of people never got married. That was the other one.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very uncommon.
Going back to the Arnotts back in the 1860s, they had two daughters and they never got married. They remained single. And then the son didn't get married until he was like in the 70s, just before he died. Crazy.
All right,
Now,
let's see.
now, with you
Dawn
guys
has a
have
comment.
with
Sorry.
you guys having like a lot of different people coming in, I mean, are there things that you don't allow people to do when they come in and investigate?
Yep. Yep. We don't let them play with Ouija boards.
Oh,
And we don't let them burn any sage or cedar or anything like that. We don't let them burn anything like that. So we have some pretty basic rules. So when people come in,
Okay.
because some people, because we have people coming all the time. There's times where we go through a stretch where different times where we might go through a month or two where we can just kind of be ourselves. And then there's like this month here. That's why when you get to see me, I'm totally exhausted because we've been going nonstop between this and then doing charity work.
Mm-hmm.
We're just nonstop.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, wiped out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's kind of some simple rules. There's no Ouija boards and no burning any type of stuff, you know.
Oh, I got you. I got you. The reason why I say is because, like, you know, a lot of people have different ways of investigating, and you know, a lot of people, you know, use. There's a lot of people that do use Ouija boards and do use spirit dice and you know things like that. But I was just curious because some people allow things like that in their house and then some people don't.
Well,
And
my theory behind the Ouija board, guys, and this is how I tell people, like in layman terms. Imagine being in a dark room, right? And you got someone like Pee Wee Herman on one side, and you got Mike Tyson on the other side, and you're communicating with who you think is actually like someone harmless, like Pee Wee Herman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, you get punched out and you get knocked out, and find out it was Mike Tyson. Well, that's the same thing. As the spirit world, you're thinking it's a little boy coming through, and on the other end, he's disguising himself, and it could be a hostile spirit. It could be an evil spirit just trying to get its way through the door.
yeah, yep. My wife has a really interesting story about a Ouija board. Her and her friend played a Ouija board when they were younger. It was just like a little game or whatever. And her friend's mom came in and says, "Well, ask it how long I have to live."
Oh no!
And it literally spelled out 3 months. And so she started laughing or whatnot, and literally like Angie, what was it, a day or 2 or 3 days, something like that, before the 3 month deal? Like she passed away, and they have no rhyme or reason behind it.
Wow.
That happens. Well, that's what happened to my brother. They found him passed away, and then a week later, Elka's dog was gone. But then my sister Charlene, again, none of these people had any health issues. She was sitting in her chair with her food in her hand, and she's staring straight, and she was gone.
Mm.
They had no rhyme or reason. They had no illnesses, no nothing.
That happens a lot. As a medic, I was a medic for years, and just people will be like, "We didn't know they were sick," or anything like that, and it happens. Some healthy people will just drop dead for no reason, and it's bizarre. It really is, but it happens a lot.
Well, especially like, that is one thing that I do understand. That's one thing that I've learned from people also, that you never ask. You never ask, like, when you're gonna, how much time you have. It's almost like you're putting a stamp on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's just not something. And mine, the Ouija board that I had was passed on. I came from an Irish family, both sides Irish, and so I had this like original wooden one that had like Celtic stuff on it and things like that. And my dad said that I would sit up there and I would play with it, and he got tired of seeing me do it. And we had an oyster pit. I'm from the low country. We have like oyster roast around here. And and he said he went and grabbed the Ouija board, and he took it and he threw it into the fire.
Oh, wow.
And I turned around and I was watching it, and I went back into the house. I went back in, and passing by, my room was upstairs, went right upstairs to the room, went, opened my door, and turned around and shut the door. And when I did, that Ouija board was sitting on my bed.
Wow. Yep.
What'd your dad say about that?
And it was like, he couldn't believe it either, because he was like, I threw that into this fire.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, like, that's just something that I don't like to mess with either. And look, there's some people that can work with them. There's some people that can work with them, and if it does work for you, then it works for you. That's just definitely something in my life and in my spiritual journey that I have that I'll never deal with, or never, like, allow that into my life again. But if it works for some people, it works for them, man. And better luck to you. But I do understand the fact that there's certain things that you gotta not allow people to do in the house, and I have a lot of respect for that, because I think you should be able to set boundaries in your house. I don't think anybody should just be able to come into that house and do sigils and do all kind of stuff in the house just like they want to, trying to invoke things and make things worse. Have you guys ever encountered that? Have you ever had somebody where they come in and they did something to where the activity or something in the house got worse for you guys?
Well, yes. I'm trying to put this into a layman's terms. The house, I don't know how to say it. The house knows. The house knows, like, say, for example, if you're coming in for like a barbecue, or if you're coming in for an investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's time after time. If the house knows if someone's coming in to like scam us or to do something different, it's almost like the house knows that it's doing its bidding, and the house attacks them mentally. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've seen it firsthand. When we opened up in 2023, we literally watched like right after a bet, like 1, 2, 3, we got attacked. But as we were getting attacked and the house was in control, that sounds really weird, but each person afterwards, you can even still to this day, the things that they talk about and the way what they talk about and how they attack us, they're not there. Does that make any sense without bringing in the whole thing?
Right.
Like for example, like one person, like me, I was an ex-military police, right? I did special investigations, right? I I do all kinds of things. Well, it was just the opposite. Somebody called me a rapist. Somebody called me a child molester, you know, right over the whole thing, and said, oh yeah, all these things. I don't take it personal because I know it's not that person. Because it's like the house has a way of like flipping a coin, you know, like heads up, tails up.
Yeah.
It has that way. It's weird. I mean, we've seen it not just with us, but other people who came in and have actually said, you know what, the house is alive. We had a gentleman, Orlando, came in, this guy, Orlando, and he made a mistake. I don't know if I told you guys about this. It happened to be Joe's ex-partner, and he made a mistake. And during the heat of a battle, he said to this entity, I'm tired of you picking on women and children. Why don't you take him on? I won't say in a house. It waited a year, and it attacked him, attacked his wife. It shredded his family. And imagine a grown man in his 40s coming back to your house, opening the door, dropping on his knees, throwing his hands up, begging the house, please leave me alone. I suffered. No. That's very sobering right there.
That's intense.
Yeah.
That's definitely intense. Now that was my next question I was going to ask you guys. If I mean, have you had someone come in that investigated that actually got like really bad affected? Well, you just answered that with that Orlando.
Yeah.
Have you had more than that happen in there with people?
Well, yes, and we're walking in a gray area. For example, we had like for example, Joe came back, right? And when he came in, he was the same Joe as we knew 18 years before.
Mm-hmm.
Within several months, you could see his demeanor change. You could see the way he was presenting himself. And just like everything he stood for in the beginning, like he always says, I'm not about for fame. I'm not about for money. I'm doing this because I want to do the work to help people. Well, you've seen it flip over, where you start seeing him going around to people, trying to get into paracons, trying to get on things, trying to get on podcasts. His health started going up and down. His organs. I mean, just all kinds of weird things. And then you watched him, and then finally last year, Mackenzie's the one that stepped in and said enough. She goes, for his safety, she just said to Joe, she goes, you're done. There's no more coming in the house.
I was worried about him because, I mean, he's been there, since I was a kid, and especially stepping in back in my life, I was definitely concerned for him and everything, especially his health and everything. So, I mean, it did hurt me, to do that, but I also wanted him to be safe and healthy and enjoy, his life and everything. I don't want to see him getting hurt or worse. That's why I decided to draw that line and go.
Because when you're going through something, right, guys, but Gwen, being a medic, you don't see the changes happening to you. It's like you get your arm blown off, right, and then I'm like, oh my, and you wrap it up. I'm okay. I can still fight, right? But you don't realize your body's going into shock. You start losing blood, and you're still mentally saying, I'm okay. Well, that's kind of like the same thing that happens here. People like, look at me, I'm okay. The house didn't get me. And then you're looking at them, and they got 3 heads. And they're looking back, and they're like, no, I'm fine. And you're like, no, you're not. And some people we had to literally say goodbye to, which hurt. It really hurts to say goodbye to some people. And other people just went kind of like crazy. It's hard to describe, but it's really weird.
Well, some people in the paranormal, and I've noticed, and this is just my observation, some people in the paranormal, especially if they somehow encounter darker things, their health suffers. It does. even if they don't see it, you can see they look a little older, or all of a sudden they have all this stuff wrong with them. And I've seen it myself, and it's very sad. Well, you guys, we're coming to an end, and I'm gonna do the Shane thing and say, tell us, you guys got some stuff coming up for Halloween? You got some events or anything you want to let people know about?
Well, what we're doing right now is I had a meeting. We had a meeting we had a meeting last week with the Enfield Food Bank, and another place is really that they've been fighting hunger for years, called Terror on Sun Street. They have like animatronics. So the lady from the food bank came over and she said how many thousands of families are still in need. So we joined together with them to stamp out hunger. So we've been doing like events like at places nonstop, and then at nighttime on the weekends we're going over there and we're setting up a table and we're offering raffles for a investigation over here, and we're offering $5 off to anybody who brings like a non-perishable can to any of our events, and we're trying to raise money and awareness. So we're doing that. Then this week Friday we got Global Ghost Hunt coming in, and I think then we're supposed to go down with some of our friends to a haunted location for Halloween down in Pennsylvania. So we are like nonstop.
Yep.
Sounds like it. Now, do you guys, this time of year, this of course is probably going to be, pretty busy. With you having a location like that, is October like a really stacked month for you guys?
Sure.
It goes up and down. We had Octobers where people thought we were busy and never came in. And then it picked up up in December. We were like nonstop in December. It was really weird. Yeah. And then January came and we slowed down, and then we picked back up in March. So you never know. It all depends like the season, whatever the paranormal's going through at the time.
Yeah. So just tell everybody how to get a hold of both of you, so we can go. And I want to finish this series, so I figured if it's okay with you guys, I'd like to have you on one more time to really finish, everything out. And I believe that this has been a really good, interesting series, and I think it needed to be out there. And it's been a pleasure doing this with you guys. It really has, guys.
It's been a pleasure.
And I missed some of them. Yeah, I missed some of them because I was traveling, and I apologize. But it's been great. And if your wife would like to come on, or your
I would definitely like to hear. I'd definitely like to hear from your wife.
If they're comfortable with it, they have to be. That if they're comfortable with it. If not, we understand. We do. We totally.
I know she wants to come on. She just wants to. Today, my other daughter, she brought everything back home. So right now, Elka's running around. So we got that going on, and you guys know having kids is crazy. It's like
I get it.
Yeah, so you never know.
My twin, for sure. She takes the craziness for both of us. I try to be more tamed down, step up for the adult role and everything.
Yeah.
Try to help out as much as I can, but definitely a wild child for sure. I love her.
So how can people find you guys? Tell everybody how to find you.
So definitely, our Facebook site would definitely be the most thing. Private message us or email the haunting.
The Enfield
House. Yeah, the Enfield House. And our email, the haunting enfieldct@yahoo.com. Or give us a phone call at 860-698-9535.
Yep.
That's amazing, guys. Well, I wanted to thank you both for being on. It seemed like the time flew by today. I don't know what happened there.
Last week also.
It did.
I tell you.
It went by like that.
but it flew by. But I really appreciate having you guys on. You guys are amazing people, and I really love speaking to you guys. So we'll do it. We'll do it another time, and let's see if we can. Let's see if we can, end this thing, on a good, because I think Enfield deserves to have a series like this to where, the whole thing's being able to put out.
Yeah,
Thank you
because
guys,
it
really
could go on
honored.
forever, because I forgot where we left out that one time. I think we just got done talking about the priest coming in. So yeah, there's so much more, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad that Mackenzie came on, and we have to get Elkin in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely do it again, and we'll finish up where the priests and everything like that, and then we'll get some words from Mackenzie and Elka and all them.
Yeah.
To just really, even if we got to start 30 minutes earlier one time, we can do that. We can do that too.
Yeah, we absolutely could. But we will talk about it. The hour's almost up, and I'm gonna personally say thank you guys. Like I said, I missed some of the series traveling, but one day if I get up that way, I would love to come by and
That would
see
be
you guys.
great.
Really honored.
We
I
look
really
forward to having you
would.
guys up here.
But I'm actually going to Salem next month.
Ooh.
Thomas Gormley
Mhm.
is having his Paracon. I'm calling Thomas. If I say it wrong, don't kill me. But yeah, I'll be seeing him, and I have never been to Salem, so that will be interesting. But yeah,
Beautiful, especially around this time too with the heat.
So,
Mm.
but yeah, I would
A year
love
ago, a year ago today, we were in Salem, Mass. I got a notification on Facebook, and it said, 2024, and it showed pictures of us walking through Salem. I was like, oh my God.
Awesome.
That's awesome, guys. Well, I wanted to thank you guys for coming on again, and let's do this again, and let's continue until this thing is completely done with. But I really appreciate you guys, and thank you for coming on, and thank you for just being amazing guests.
Yes.
Mackenzie, you're awesome. You're phenomenal, and I love speaking with you guys. And Jay, thank you very much.
Yes.
And I will talk to you both very soon.
Sounds good, guys.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
us
having
on
us
too.
All right.
Thank you. I'm gonna put you down. We're gonna finish out. So here you go.
Well, that's
They
it.
are-
Well, that's it. They are wonderful people. I love having them on, and I do believe Enfield deserves to have their story told the right way. Thank you all for coming on, commenting, watching, doing everything that you do. We can't have a podcast if nobody watches the podcast. So I really appreciate that. And I want you guys to have a really good week. We'll come back again. I've got some other guests lined up for, the end of the year going into next year. So I really look forward to seeing where this goes. But you guys stay safe, be blessed always, and stay spooky, people. Peace.